I went to the doctor recently, right? Because I'm trying to, make up for all the appointments that I missed during the pandemic. Because most of you don't know this, but before the pandemic became a thing, I was actually in the middle of going back and forth between, my primary doctor and a rheumatologist, because apparently they found something in my blood that is an indicator of some type of autoimmune disease, and I need to figure out what it was. And I wasn't able to figure out what happened. I don't even remember why I never went back for another a follow-up appointment. I don't know if Pharmastein sent me away, or if I didn't go back because I got tired of going back and forth, or if literally it just slipped my mind. I have no idea, no clue. But I do remember going back and forth because of what they found in my blood. And so I go back to the doctor for a checkup now, right? So the pandemic, took place. It's winding down a little bit. I got vaccinated. I feel a lot more confident going to the doctor now than I did early on in the year, or last year, definitely, right? So I'm vaccinated. I feel a little bit safer. I'm still masked up when I'm inside. Many of these places still require you to wear a mask when you're going to visit the doctor. And so I feel good there. It's a doctor's office, and so they're taking the protocol very, very seriously, and so I feel good. And my doctor, she's like on the older side of age, and so if she feels comfortable enough to kind of do her job, then damn it, I feel comfortable enough to go inside and to get my physical taken, right? And so I go in, get my physical, do the usual thing, sit down, ask you certain questions, yada yada yada. Have you breathe in and out? The lungs sound clear, everything sound good, cool, great. Now, she told me, hey, I need you to go back to the rheumatologist because we found that marker in your blood, and I need to know what it is. Yes, we have kind of the blood information, but this is his field. This is his specialty. He'll be able to kind of give you a better understanding, a better idea of what to do, where to go from here, what exactly you have. There are multiple autoimmune diseases that I could possibly have, so who knows what it is. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I got you. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this, right? And immediately my mood is ruined, because for me personally, it's very hard for someone like me, like Cruel, to be this beaming hope of optimism, right? I have what I think is kind of like my natural disposition is to obsess over negativity. I don't know if it's environmental. I don't know if it's genetic. Some of us are kind of predisposed to really obsess over the negative. Because look, my father has a health issue that he's dealing with, and he doesn't seem to worry about it at all. Now, granted, he's older, and so maybe once you get older, you start becoming more used to the fact that, hey, mortality is coming. I'm in my late 20s. He's in his early 60s, so maybe that's it. But he seems to be handling his health stuff like a champ. Matter of fact, I forget sometimes that he has this condition unless he tells me, I have an appointment coming up. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot you do have that thing wrong with you. I'm purposely being vague about what it is because, my father's health is his health, and I don't think it's my place to kind of let you guys know what it is, but it's something very serious, put it like that. But I'm not able to do that. When I hear even the slightest possibility that something can be wrong, I obsess like a motherfucker, right? I obsess, right? I do the thing that they tell you not to do, where I go home, I do a bunch of Googling. And the reason why they tell you not to do that is because on the internet, you're going to read and hear from the people who are suffering from whatever you suffer from on like the worst end of the spectrum. Because everything, especially autoimmune stuff, is a spectrum. There's people that are diagnosed with autoimmunes that, they deal with heavy symptoms. Other people is like moderate symptoms. Some people, it's so mild that outside of like a flare up, 1 or 2 times, they don't even remember that they have anything wrong with them, right? Because even me, outside of this marker found in my blood, I don't think anything's wrong, right? So here's the thing: when she printed out the piece of paper for the referral to go back to the rheumatologist, I looked at it and it had Sojourner syndrome, right? Where it's basically autoimmune, your immune system is attacking your body, and the symptoms are like dry mouth and dry eyes, right? Now, here's the thing. I haven't cried in a long time, but I don't feel like my eyes are dry. My mouth, every now and then, I feel like my mouth is a little bit dry, but from what I've been reading and hearing from people's testimonies, like when you have this stuff and it's real bad, you'll know it. Like when your mouth is dry, you'll know it's dry. When your eyes are dry, it can be painful. Right? I'm not dealing with any like physical pain to that degree. But then here's the thing. Now that the diagnosis is in the back of my mind, Anything that goes wrong, like I got up from the couch the other day and I felt some slight discomfort in my knee, but I'm also out of shape, and yeah, I have those little pains, here or there. Now I'm like, oh my God, is that my autoimmune disease, doing its thing? And I got sad for a bit, and then recently I'm able to talk myself. Look, no matter what happens from here, knowing is better than not knowing. And so, this thing where I don't go to the doctor because I don't want to know the truth that he tells me, it doesn't change me actually being sick. And this podcast is dedicated for those of you out there who might be in the middle of something like I am, diagnosing yourself, or you recently got a diagnosis and you're really hard on yourself. You have to remember, you knowing this information is much better than you not knowing this information, because you not knowing would never have changed the fact that you have this condition. You would just be going through life ignorant. And in some cases, ignorance is a positive, but when it comes to your personal health, that is not true. You need to know what's going on with you. You need to know so that you can, take care of yourself. You need to know so that you can, make just better decisions, with your health, with your life. Does it suck that you have this? Yes. When I get my definitive diagnosis, it's going to suck having whatever I have. Sure. Like, remember when I told you guys how any health thing you think is anything that's wrong with you, you think it's due to the the condition. But right now, my eyes are a little bit I don't know if it's dry or just fatigued from staring at screens all day long, and you're not wearing, before I saw this referral with, Sojourner syndrome on it, I would have just put on my glasses that I bought for looking at screens and been like, oh yeah, I'm looking at screens for too long. But is it the dry eye? Who knows? I haven't cried in a while. Can I still cry? These are the things that I would love to know, but I don't know. And so, where was I in the story? Oh yeah, so she gives me this referral. And, she also gives me a piece of paper to get blood. Now, here's the part of the story that's interesting. Now that we are in the middle of the pandemic, the way that you get your blood work done in my facility, you have to go to a location by appointment. Now, here's the thing, though. This was a way smoother process than it usually is. Usually, if your doctor orders blood work, they give you a piece of paper. In the case of my facility, the lab is in the basement, so I will go down to the basement, and it will be a room packed with people, and you kind of wait until your name was called. Think about how unsanitary that is. Even without the pandemic, having a whole bunch of people packed at the bottom of a location filled with doctors, meaning we're all here for some reason. So for some reason, some of us are getting blood work done because it's routine. Other people are down there because they're actually sick and something is wrong with them, and the blood work is going to be used to determine what is wrong with them. So you have this location that is not ventilated properly, packed with a bunch of people getting blood work done, knowing that at least a handful of these people believe something is seriously wrong with them. And we never even blinked at that hey, we should probably not do this thing. Right? And I'm bringing this up because the phone appointments, so basically the way they did it was, you got the piece of paper with a phone number on it. You call the phone number for the lab. They will give you a time slot and tell you, okay, well, you'll come in on this day at this time. Luckily for me, I was able to get a time slot on the same day. I had to wait maybe a half hour, and I was able to get my blood taken out. Smooth transition. There was only 4 people in there, in and out, bang, like nothing. And so I'm hoping, okay, well, when the pandemic ends, do we kind of keep these perks? Because in my opinion, this is how the doctor's office should have been ran in the first place. And it frustrates me. It frustrates me because it lets me know, oh, y'all were able to do this stuff all along. You just decided not to. You guys could have always ran a half decent waiting room, but you didn't. So why didn't you? Now, it's possible that maybe they just didn't think about it. Tradition is a bad thing that well, it's not a bad thing, but tradition is something that we all have to deal with, right? And for many of us, we do things and we recreate certain patterns of behavior, not because we think it's the most effective way of doing X, Y, and Z, but because that's the way it's always been done. That's the way we've always seen it to be done. So it's possible that they've been kind of running these lobby areas into the ground, not because they think that's the optimal way to do it, but because that's kind of how waiting areas have kind of always been ran. And so it's my hope that they're able to keep this procedure, because I think it's a much more pleasant experience. I was in and out of my doctor's appointment like this, and then also I was in and out of the lab getting my blood taken like this. It was one of the most pleasant experiences that I've ever had at the doctor's office. And in my opinion, I don't see any reason why that should change, if that makes sense. So That was my doctor experience that I had this week. If you must know, to give you an update, I also, it seems that they think, well, not they think, I have a sleep apnea as well. So I am on a CPAP machine. It is not going well. I just emailed my doctor today, so hopefully he'll be able to turn my air pressure down, because I have a ramp effect on my CPAP machine, and basically the ramp effect means it starts out on like lower pressure to kind of help you go to sleep, and then while you're sleeping, it kind of goes up to the real pressure that you need to breathe while you're sleeping. But for me, when my mask is on, the high pressure just wakes me up out of my sleep, and so I have yet to go a full 5-6 hours with the mask on, having no problem. And so it's either that the mask fit is fucked up for me, or I need the air pressure turned down. Now I call these people trying to get another mask, because it was told to me that I would have the capability of switching to at least one other mask once I started my therapy. But this Indian lady, I'm not blaming her for what she did. She's just working for somebody, and I know his company policy is they want to spend the least amount of money as possible. And so when I called up and I said, hey, you know what? I think I need a better mask or a different mask. She'd say, well, you know what? Let's try to use the smaller one to make sure to see if the fit is. But look, I can't do that. So I emailed my doctor, because my doctor actually, they take long to get back to you sometimes. And so I emailed him today. But tomorrow I'm going to call the number and say, yo, I need a different mask, because I have to use this machine a certain amount of times in a small space in order for the insurance company to pay for it. And so I kind of need for this therapy to work, if I'm going to need this machine for the foreseeable future. And it seems that I will need this machine for the foreseeable future. And so that's going on as well, right? And so today's podcast, I don't know what it's going to be called. Is it going to be called Health Problems, or who knows? But I just want to kind of fill you guys in on what's going on with me, because I feel like some of us suffer in silence with our conditions, whether it's sleep apnea, whether it's an autoimmune disease, cancer, whatever it is. We keep these things to ourselves because talking about it makes it real, or sometimes we keep it to ourselves because we don't think anyone else would understand it. And some of us, and it's going to sound crazy, we're embarrassed. We want to be normal. Why did this happen to me? God, why me? I'm so unlucky. We go down that whole thing, and then you realize, look, life is a bunch of random events happening, and you kind of have to just play your cards the best way possible. And so I hope that by talking about my experience, that I was able to either help you feel more comfortable with yours, or embolden you to kind of take your current health problems or health conditions and tackle them head on like you need to.